Next participant, Mrs. Nalink K.
Our next participant is Mrs. Nalink K from Serene Narbana. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. An Indian girl's marriage. I was in a dilemma whether to get married or not to get married. I was 29 years, 9 months and 3 days old. And my mother was desperate that I should get married before I turned 30. And she started praying to numerous gods. Murugayane, Shanmugane, Gopala, Govinda, Damodara, Abad Bandava. Oh, please bless me with a good son-in-law. On the other hand, my father called me and said, look here child, you have done your MBA, you are a mature woman and you have a job, you have financial security. So why don't you decide and get married? Being a spinster is something, it's a very lonely life. Look at your mother and me. We have such a happy marriage. Every day we have an argument and that is the spice of life. So I listened to them very quietly and decided maybe I will think about marriage. And I just don't like love marriages. You married for love, he married for love. My friend Anu, she eloped with her lover and she went to a register marriage. She went through register marriage. And Shobha, she somehow managed to convince her parents that they shouldn't mind her marrying an Assamese. But the wedding was on a very small scale in a temple outside the city. But I love arranged marriages. Well, I'll tell you the reason why. Because arranged marriages are the ones that improve the economy of the country. They contribute very greatly. For example, my mother said I should go and take a lovely photograph of myself at GK Way. Now, studios like GK Way take such lovely pictures of you that you almost pose and you almost look like a Bollywood actress. And then the next step is you post them on shadi.com. They too make money. And then there are so many responses that my mother had to sit down and jot down the names of prospective bridegrooms and their qualifications, salaries, if possible, she could guess, and jot down everything. And then you just look at the wedding ceremony as such. And it normally takes place in 5-star hotels if you come from the higher strata of society. And you have the barat, where the boy, the bridegroom, comes on horseback in North India, but in South he comes in a posh car, beautifully decorated. And then you have the mehendi ceremony, and then from the beauty parlor the ladies come and they do the mehendi, and then they dress up the bride as well as her friends. And then you have the regular wedding in the 5-star hotel, and the lunch is a very generous spread with numerous dishes which you can't even eat. And in the evening, they invite a famous singer to come and entertain the audience. And the night dinner is a buffet, once again a grand affair. And the next day, if possible, the bridegroom gives a return dinner, as we call Maruvirundu. So this goes on. So just think how many people benefit financially from this kind of arranged marriage in 5-star hotels. The hotel management, and then you also have the event management.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Oh, the event management, well, those girls come in beautifully, tight saris, all of them in the same color. And instead of your relatives saying, please come and have your lunch or dinner, it is the girls from the event management who invite you for dinner and lunch and everything. So many people benefit. The business houses, the hotels and the priests and the decorations and the beauty parlor and the photography being taken by the photo studios. So just imagine how much you are contributing to the rest of the country. So that is why I favor arranged marriages. But then finally my mother decided that we should invite prospective bridegrooms to a 5-star hotel. So the first gentleman came with about 6 of his family members, parents, grandparents, brothers, and brother's wife. And we all sat and discussed. My mother is very diplomatic. She can get any amount of information by speaking to the Sambandhis, future Sambandhis. And she told my father to keep quiet because my father can only talk about Olympic Games, cricket, and Modi, our Prime Minister, and his policies. So mother was a better person from extracting information. Then after some time they told us to go and sit apart at a different table and talk. Well, this first gentleman told me, please tell your parents that you are not interested in marrying me. I was shocked. Oh my God, what is this? And he said, I'm so sorry. I'm already in love with one of my colleagues, so I really don't want to marry you. So the first engagement ended. The second gentleman who turned up, he was a little different and he was very quiet and was sitting next to his mother. Anything that was offered, he was look at his mother and then eat and then drink. And I was wondering what's wrong with him. And when we moved to another table, he told me, I lost my father when I was very young, so I'm very attached to my mother. Well, would you be transferred to outside the country? I said, yes. Oh, I'm so sorry, in which case I can never leave my mother and come with you. That ended. And the third prospective bridegroom who came, he was a lawyer. So he started questioning me. He said, well, do you have a number of friends? I said, yes. Do you keep in touch with them even outside working hours? I said, yes. And we always go for movies, we go for picnics, we go to other places, tourist places to visit like Kodaikanal and all that. And so he said, but are you very close to your friends? Oh yes, I'm very close to my school friends, my college friends, and my workplace friends. And then he looked at me and he said, suddenly it dawned on me that he was trying to find out whether I had boyfriends. So I asked him, what about you? Do you have any girlfriends? He said he was very embarrassed and he said, well, I had a couple of flings, but nothing very serious. I looked at him and when he bent towards me, he smelled of such strong coconut oil in his hair. I thought, oh my God, this gentleman will not have the potential to attract any woman. So that ended the third episode. And the fourth gentleman who came, he was, I believe, very fond of, he was an only child. So he asked me, do you love kids? And I said, oh, I love dogs. And I showed him on my cell phone my 3 dogs, Kobe and Coco and Link. Well, that's it. That gentleman left. My mother was so disappointed and she said, how can you keep saying no to every offer? Thank God, by the time I was transferred, I got a post in Tokyo, London. So I left and I thought next few months I'll have some peace. I was doing data analysis for an American company. And after about 6 months, I decided I will return home to Bangalore. And I came home and I told my parents, please don't come to the airport. I'm bringing a friend along with me. So my parents didn't turn up. So I came with my friend. My father and mother were there ready to receive us. And I turned to them and said, this is Sumiyoshi, my Japanese American friend. And Sumiyoshi immediately bowed in full respect. And then he told my parents, well, I must tell you that I'm really honored to have married your daughter, who is very intelligent, very pretty, very smart, and we need your blessings. Both my parents stood with their mouths open. They looked like the marble, I would say, the marble models in England, London, you see, in the museum. And my mother, I didn't know how to convince my mother. And then when Sumiyoshi left the room, I told her that, Amma, please don't worry, that he's a wonderful person and he will be a good son-in-law. And above all, there's one thing I want to tell you. He's a pure vegan and he only eats satvika vegetarian diet. The minute I said that, my mother ran to the puja room and brought a plate to do arati for him. And then when we were about to leave, my mother was once again praying to the gods. Krishna, Gopala, Govinda, Damodara, Abadbandava, Anadarakshara. I asked my mother, what is wrong with you now? He said, will my grandson have chinky eyes?